Have you ever walked into a room, seen someone you wanted to impress, and felt your chest tighten because you already knew you were about to shrink instead of expand? You knew exactly what you wanted to say, but your mind went blank, your body got stiff, and later, when you were alone, all the perfect words suddenly appeared in your head like a cruel joke. If that sounds familiar, stay exactly where you are, because what you're about to hear is not "be yourself" nonsense, and it's not shallow advice about faking confidence. You're going to understand how to become dangerously confident in any interaction, the kind of confidence that makes people lean in, listen, and feel something when you speak. Dangerous confidence is not about being arrogant, loud, or aggressive. It is about becoming a man who is internally unshakable, emotionally composed, and strategically expressive. A man whose presence says, without words, "I know who I am, I know what I bring, and I'm not afraid to lose you or anyone else." Because in seduction, in business, in friendships, and in everyday life, the man who is the least reactive holds the power. And dangerous confidence is exactly that, relaxed power. Right now, you might believe confidence is something that appears magically when you finally have enough money, enough muscles, enough success with women, enough followers, enough proof that you're good enough. That idea is precisely what keeps you weak. If confidence depended on external results, every successful man would feel invincible. And that's not true. There are men with money, looks, and status who are terrified of rejection, terrified of silence, and terrified of disapproval. And there are men with far less who walk into a room and silently command respect. So the first thing you need to understand is this: confidence is not a result. It is a decision backed by practice. Listen carefully. Confidence is not, "I know everyone will like me." Confidence is, "I will be absolutely fine even if they don't." That shift changes everything. When you stop chasing validation and start anchoring yourself in self-respect, your body, your tone of voice, and your behavior reorganize themselves in a completely different way. To become dangerously confident in any interaction, you need three pillars working together: inner frame, physical presence, and behavioral strategy. If just one of these is off, you'll feel like you're acting. When all three are aligned, you stop acting and start being. I'm going to walk you through each pillar and give you specific mental and behavioral shifts you can apply immediately so that by the next interaction you have today, you're not the same man who pressed play on this video. Let's start with your inner frame, because this is the skeleton of your confidence. Every interaction is an invisible battle of frames. A frame is the meaning you give to what is happening. If you walk into a conversation thinking, "I hope they like me, I don't want to say anything stupid," your frame is that you are being judged and you must perform. That frame makes you tense, apologetic, and needy. But you can choose a different frame. For example, "I am here to enjoy this interaction, to see if this person fits my standards, and to express myself with honesty." Same situation, different frame, completely different energy. Dangerous confidence comes from installing powerful default frames that you carry into any room. For example, frame number 1, "I add value by being myself, not by pleasing." Most men believe they must adapt constantly to be liked. They change their opinions. They laugh at things they don't find funny. They agree with everything. They over-explain. They over-apologize. This screams insecurity. A confident man is willing to be liked or disliked for who he really is. He doesn't try to win every person. He's willing to let some people walk away. And here's the paradox. The more you are willing to lose people, the more people are drawn to you. Because your energy says, "I'm not here to beg, I'm here to share." Frame number 2. Rejection is information, not a verdict. Most fear in interactions comes from the idea that a no, a cold response, or an uninterested reaction means something is wrong with you as a man. That's a childish interpretation. In reality, every interaction is a combination of timing, mood, context, preferences, and what's going on in the other person's life. You don't control all of that. When you treat rejection as personal, you make it heavier than it really is. A dangerously confident man sees rejection as data. Wrong timing, wrong vibe, wrong person, information. He adjusts, he learns, but he doesn't collapse. His self-respect is not on the table. Frame number 3. I am the chooser, not just the chosen. In seduction, most men place women on a psychological throne. They walk into an interaction thinking, "I hope she likes me." They don't ask a more important question. Do I actually like her character, her values, her energy? Is she good for my life? Dangerous confidence means you keep your standards active. You're not auditioning for her approval. You're observing whether she fits your world. That subtle mental shift changes how you look, how you speak, and how you listen. It adds calm, because you're not begging for a result. You're evaluating. Take a moment and imagine yourself entering your next social situation with those three internal frames active at the same time. You add value by being yourself. Rejection is just information, and you are the chooser. Just imagining that already changes your breathing, your posture, and your internal pressure. Now, the goal isn't just to imagine. The goal is to practice these frames so often that they become automatic, and I'll give you a simple way to start doing that. Before you enter any interaction today, a call, a meeting, a conversation with someone you like, repeat internally a short mantra that activates your frame. Something clear and masculine like, I respect myself first, or I am here to enjoy, not to impress. Or, if it's not mutual, it's not for me. Short, sharp, and repeated. This is not some mystical ritual. It's mental conditioning. You are training your nervous system to associate interactions with self-respect instead of fear. Let's move to the second pillar, physical presence. You can't be dangerously confident if your body is betraying you. People don't read your thoughts, they read your signals. They read your posture, your breathing, your movements, your eye contact, your tone. If your body says, I'm small, I'm tense, I'm scared, it doesn't matter how good your inner dialogue is. Confidence must descend from your mind into your muscles. The first element of physical presence is stillness. Insecure men fidget. They touch their face, adjust their clothes every 2 seconds, check their phone, tap their feet, move their hands too quickly. All of that communicates jittery energy. Confident men are comfortable with stillness. That doesn't mean being stiff like a robot. It means your movements are deliberate, not desperate. When you speak, you keep your body relatively relaxed and you only move when there is a reason, to emphasize a point, to lean in, to gesture slowly. You can practice this by deliberately slowing down your movements throughout the day. When you grab a glass, do it slower. When you turn your head, do it slower. When you walk, lengthen your steps slightly and let your arms move naturally, not rigidly. You're teaching your body the language of calm. And the more your body speaks calm, the more your mind follows. The second element of physical presence is posture alignment. A confident posture is not exaggerated chest out, shoulders forced back, and chin too high like a caricature. That looks fake and aggressive. True confident posture is aligned and grounded. Imagine a string pulling you gently from the top of your head. Your shoulders rest back and down, not forward and collapsed. Your chest is open, not puffed up. Your feet are firmly on the ground, hip-width apart, not crossed or twisted. When you're standing, you avoid locking your knees. You occupy space without apology. Here's a simple test. Next time you're standing in line or waiting somewhere, instead of hunching over your phone, stand upright, hands relaxed by your sides or lightly together in front of you, shoulders back, breathing deep and slow through your nose. Do nothing else. Just exist like that. You'll feel exposed at first because you're used to hiding behind your phone or shrinking. But as you practice, that posture will become more natural. And when you bring that presence into an interaction, people will feel it before you say a word. The third element is your eyes and your voice. Eye contact is one of the fastest ways to communicate confidence or insecurity. Many men either stare too intensely trying to look confident, which feels aggressive, or they constantly glance away, which signals nervousness. Confident eye contact is relaxed and warm. You look at the other person when they speak. You look at them when you speak, but you're not afraid to occasionally glance away calmly to think, then return. The key is intention. You're not scanning the room looking for an escape. You're present with the person in front of you. To practice, keep eye contact just 1 second longer than you feel comfortable with in your interactions today. Not 10 seconds longer, not a creepy stare. Just 1 second beyond your usual limit. That extra second is where your confidence grows. Over time, your nervous system adapts, and what used to feel intimidating becomes natural. Now your voice. Dangerous confidence lives in the way you use silence and space between your words. Insecure men rush their sentences, fill every silence with, like, and nervous laughter. They speak from their throat, not from their chest. A confident man doesn't rush. He's not afraid of a second of silence. He doesn't speak louder to dominate. He speaks clearly to be understood. His voice tends to be slightly slower, slightly lower, and more grounded. One simple exercise. When you speak, consciously lower your volume just a little and slow your pace by about 10%. Not so slow that it becomes unnatural, just enough that you feel you have time to breathe and think. Before answering, let there be a half-second pause. That micro-pause makes you appear thoughtful and composed. It also helps you stop saying things you don't really mean just to fill space. Now we move into the third pillar, behavioral strategy. You can have a strong inner frame and solid physical presence, but if your behavior is needy, apologetic, or chaotic, your confidence will leak. Dangerous confidence is reflected in what you do and what you refuse to do in interactions. The first strategic behavior you must eliminate is over-explaining. Whenever you feel the urge to justify every decision, every preference, every opinion, you are unconsciously asking for permission. Confident men don't justify themselves excessively. They state their preferences clearly and simply. For example, instead of long demonstrations about why you like something, you simply say, "I'm into this," or "That's not my thing." Short, clean, and unapologetic. You don't owe a PhD thesis for every choice in your life. The second behavior you must regulate is apologizing. There are moments when a direct "I'm sorry" is a sign of maturity, when you actually made a mistake that affected someone. But most men apologize for existing. "Sorry to bother you. Sorry for asking. Sorry I took your time." This constant apology communicates that you believe your presence is a problem. A dangerously confident man doesn't apologize for taking up space or for starting a conversation. Instead of "Sorry to interrupt," you simply say, "Hey, quick question," or "Hey, do you have a second?" You respect the other person's time without degrading yourself. The third strategic behavior is how you handle tension. In any interaction with stakes, with someone you're attracted to, with a boss, with a group, there will be moments of tension. A silence, a disagreement, a teasing comment, a skeptical look. Insecure men panic in those moments. They rush to kill the tension. They change the subject too fast. They laugh nervously. They backtrack on what they said. Confident men understand that tension is not the enemy. Tension is the spice. In seduction, emotional tension is what creates attraction. In leadership, tension is what creates respect. In negotiation, tension is what creates better deals. So instead of killing every moment of tension, learn to breathe inside it. If someone disagrees with you, you don't immediately fold. You listen, you hold your ground respectfully, and you respond calmly. If you say something bold and the other person goes silent for a second, you don't instantly save the moment with a joke. You let the silence breathe. You look at them relaxed, maybe with a slight smile, and then you continue. That ability to stay calm in tension makes you extremely attractive and intimidating in the best way. The fourth behavior is how you show interest. Dangerously confident men show clear interest, but they don't pedestal anyone. They are direct enough that there is no confusion about their intention, but detached enough that their world does not collapse if the response is not what they desired. You don't hide your attraction, but you don't worship. You notice, you express, and you move forward. This means you don't give exaggerated compliments, you don't chase with endless messages, you don't try to buy affection with favors. Instead, you might say something simple and strong like, "I like your energy," or "You're interesting to talk to." And then you observe whether the interest is reciprocated. If it is, you escalate. If it isn't, you withdraw your attention with dignity. Your self-respect is always more important than any single interaction. Another powerful behavior that builds dangerous confidence is setting boundaries peacefully but firmly. Many men think being confident means being nice no matter what. That's not confidence, that's fear of conflict. A truly confident man can say no. He can say, "That doesn't work for me. I'm not okay with that," or "Let's not talk to each other like that," without screaming and without apologizing. Boundaries tell others that your time, energy, and self-respect are not available for discount. Pay attention to situations where you feel stepped on, when someone constantly cancels on you, speaks to you with disrespect, or tries to manipulate you with guilt. Instead of complaining silently or exploding later, respond early and calmly. You might say, "When you cancel last minute, it makes me not trust your word. Let's plan differently," or "If you're going to speak to me like that, this conversation is over." That level of clarity may scare some people away, usually the ones who benefit from your lack of boundaries. Good. Your life becomes lighter and your confidence grows because you see yourself protecting you. Now, if you've been listening and thinking, "This all sounds good, but in the moment I freeze," that's normal. Confidence is a skill, not a miracle. So let's talk about how you actually transform yourself through practice, not just ideas. First, understand that your nervous system has a comfort zone. If you've spent years avoiding eye contact, avoiding conflict, avoiding expressing attraction, that comfort zone is very narrow. The solution is not to destroy it overnight. The solution is gradual exposure. Think of it as confidence training. You deliberately put yourself in slightly uncomfortable social micro-challenges every day. For example, today your challenge might be, hold eye contact 1 second longer with people you speak to. Tomorrow it could be, start one small conversation with a stranger, a simple comment about the environment, nothing heavy. The next day, it might be, say your opinion in a group instead of staying silent. Each of these small acts stretches your comfort zone. And every time you survive a small discomfort, your brain learns, "I can handle this." Dangerous confidence is built by thousands of those small victories. Second, you must manage your inner critic, that voice in your head that says, "You sounded stupid, she thought you were weird, you're not good enough," is not giving you objective feedback. It is simply repeating old beliefs you absorbed from past experiences, family, school, society. If you let that voice run wild after every interaction, it will paralyze you. From now on, after each interaction, instead of asking, "What did I do wrong?" ask, "What did I do right? And what can I slightly improve next time?" You're still learning, but you're not insulting yourself. You might say, "I like that I approached even though I was nervous. Next time, I'll slow down my voice more." That is how a confident man speaks to himself, honest but not cruel. You become your own ally instead of your own bully. Third, you must cut down your emotional dependence on external validation. That doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop basing your worth on their reactions. One way to do this is to build a life you genuinely respect. Dangerous confidence outside comes from self-respect inside. When you know you're working on your body, your skills, your mission, your health, your discipline, you automatically feel more solid in interactions. You're not just trying to impress with words. Your life backs you up. Ask yourself, if I looked at my own life as if I were a stranger, would I respect this man? If the answer is no, that's not a reason to hate yourself. It's a clear signal of where your confidence leaks. Start improving things you can control: your fitness, your finances, your discipline, your environment, your habits. You don't need to become perfect. You simply need to become a man who is consistently moving forward. Movement builds pride. Stagnation kills it. Fourth, learn the art of detachment. This is one of the most powerful elements of dangerous confidence. Detachment does not mean being cold or emotionless. It means you don't cling mentally to any single outcome. Before an interaction, you remind yourself, if this goes well, great. If it doesn't, I'm still me, and my life goes on. When you maintain that mental flexibility, you are free to be bold. Attached men hesitate because they're secretly saying, "If this fails, I'm ruined." Detached men act because they know, "If this fails, I learn and I move on." That's the warrior mindset. You step into the arena knowing you can bleed, but you also know you won't break. Now let's bring all of this together into a practical sequence you can apply in your next important interaction, whether it's with someone you're attracted to, a social event, or a professional situation. Step 1. Pre-frame. Before you enter the interaction, take a few seconds alone. Straighten your posture, take 2 slow breaths through your nose, and activate your mental frame. I am here to enjoy, not to impress. I respect myself first. I am the chooser too. Feel that in your body. Let your shoulders relax, let your jaw relax. You're not going to war, you're going to connect. Step 2. Enter with grounded energy. When you walk into the room or approach the person, do it at a steady pace. Don't rush, don't sneak. Stand or sit in a position where you're not shrinking into a corner. Remember, stillness over fidgeting. If you feel the urge to touch your face or look at your phone, resist it for a few seconds and remain still. This already separates you from most men. Step 3. Start simple, not perfect. Many men paralyze themselves waiting for the perfect line. Dangerous confidence doesn't chase perfection. It values action. You can start with something basic, an observation, a question, a direct introduction. "Hey, I'm..." followed by a genuine comment. The magic is not in the complexity of your words. It's in the seriousness of your presence. You're not trying to entertain like a clown. You're connecting like a man. Step 4. Listen strategically. Confident men are not obsessed with how they look. They are curious about the person in front of them. Ask questions that reveal values, opinions, and attitudes, not just superficial details. Instead of only asking, "Where are you from?" or "What do you do?" you might ask, "What do you enjoy most about what you do?" or "What kind of people do you like being around?" When you listen, you're not waiting for your turn to speak. You're actually present. That presence makes you attractive, because most people rarely feel truly heard. Step 5. Express yourself without shrinking. When it's your turn to share, speak clearly and honestly. Don't downplay your interests or your ambitions. Don't talk like you're ashamed of your own life. Confidence is not bragging. It's owning your story without exaggeration and without apology. If you like something that isn't popular, own it. If you have goals that are ambitious, own them. The right people are drawn to authenticity, not to watered-down versions of you. Step 6. Use calibrated tension. If there's a moment of silence, don't panic. Hold it with calm. If you feel attraction, allow a little bit of flirtatious energy through your eye contact, your smile, your tone. You don't need cheesy lines. Sometimes a simple, "You're interesting," said with steady eyes and a relaxed smile, carries more power than 100 scripted phrases. Step 7. Close with self-respect. Whether the interaction went amazingly or just okay, end it like a man who values his time. If it feels right, you propose a next step, exchanging contact. meeting again, continuing the conversation later. If the response is positive, you move forward. If the response is lukewarm or negative, you don't beg or chase. You say something like, "No worries, it was good talking to you," and you move on. That graceful exit is part of your dangerous confidence. You don't crumble because one person wasn't a match. If you repeat this cycle again and again, something powerful starts to happen. You stop seeing yourself as the friendless guy on the sidelines of life looking in. You start seeing yourself as the man who steps into the arena every day, who can handle discomfort, who can handle no, who can handle yes. Your self-image shifts from, "I'm the guy who gets nervous," to, "I'm the guy who acts even when I'm nervous." That alone makes you dangerous. There's one more layer that separates ordinary confidence from dangerous confidence: emotional control. In seduction and in life, the man who can regulate his emotions under pressure has the advantage. When someone ignores you, flirts with you, challenges you, or tries to manipulate you, your automatic reaction used to be insecurity, anger, jealousy, or anxiety. A dangerously confident man feels all of that, but doesn't let those emotions dictate his behavior. You do this by practicing a simple rule: never react instantly from emotional spikes. When something triggers you, a text left on read, a sarcastic comment, a sudden change of behavior, you don't respond immediately. You breathe, you step back mentally, and you ask, what is the most self-respecting response here? Not, what will make them like me, or what will hurt them back, but what protects my dignity and my peace? That internal question separates boys from men. Sometimes the answer will be to clarify calmly. Sometimes it will be to walk away. Sometimes it will be to laugh and let it go. What matters is that you act from choice, not from impulse. That is dangerous confidence, the ability to stay centered when other people try consciously or unconsciously to pull you off your center. As you integrate all this, your inner frame, your physical presence, your behavioral strategy, and your emotional control, you'll notice that interactions that used to scare you start to feel like training grounds instead of battlefields. Each conversation becomes an opportunity to practice being the man you want to be. Imagine yourself months from now. You walk into a room and your posture is naturally straight. Your eyes are steady, your movements calm. You start conversations without overthinking. You listen deeply and you speak clearly. You show interest without worshiping anyone. You say no when something crosses your boundaries. You handle tension with a half smile instead of panic. Sometimes things go your way, sometimes they don't. But either way, you walk out of every situation with your head high. That is what it means to be dangerously confident in any interaction. Not that you always win. Not that you never feel fear, but that your fear no longer drives your actions. Your self-respect no longer disappears in the presence of others, and your world no longer collapses because of someone else's opinion. From this moment on, stop waiting to feel ready. Start acting like the man you want to become in small ways, every single day. Hold your eyes 1 second longer. Speak 10% slower. Bring your shoulders back when you notice yourself collapsing. Say what you really mean once today, instead of hiding it. Protect one boundary you usually let people cross. These are not minor details. This is how a new identity is built, through concrete, repeated actions. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You need to be deliberate. The next interaction you have after this video is your laboratory. Enter it with the mindset, I am here to enjoy, evaluate, and express, not to beg. Let your body speak calm. Let your voice carry clarity. Let your decisions reflect self-respect. With time, people will start saying things to you like, you've changed, you feel different, you seem more grounded. But more important than what they notice is what you will feel. A deep, quiet certainty that no matter who is in front of you, you remain you. That is dangerous confidence. And from today, it's your new standard.